Um, okay. Well, we had to switch the link because the YouTube was giving me issues, so we had to make a new video.
Okay, so are we officially live, or are we switching the link, or?
Yeah, we're good. All right. Yeah, we had technical issues. Let me. Oh, well, people are coming in, it looks like.
Coming in as in like coming into the stream, or coming in?
They're coming into the stream.
Ooh, fancy. So can they see us, or do they know?
Hi, Sophistry. Yeah, they can see us. You can see
okay.
comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
They can see. Wait, so they can see us like talking like
Yes.
now. Oh, wild. That's some stuff.
Yeah, technology. But
wild how that works. So I think we should probably start by like introducing ourselves, right? Like that would make the most sense. Yeah. So my name's Madi. I've been involved in like the typology community for like a hot second. I was originally, I think I got into it when I was 14, but I originally like I started on Discord, I think like what, August of last year. And I'm an ESE, and yeah, and I'm Emery's girlfriend.
Yeah, we've been dating for about 4 to 5 months. We didn't know that. Well, I didn't know. I was in the sociologics before her, but I didn't know what her type was, and we kind of found out after the fact. And yeah, I've been in sociologics for about a year and a half, I would say.
Year and a half, yeah.
And I am an LII. I've been typed that by Jack. I've been typed that by several people throughout the community. I haven't been typed by other socionic schools, but I feel pretty confident I'm LII. Hi.
So I was oh god, I actually was typed what was I typed originally in sociotics? I was typed like EIE, and then I met an EIE and she was like, you're not EIE, you're IEE. I was like, oh, okay. And that is it. Emery and a few, I was typed on Discord server, and Jack met me for the first time in the World Sociotics Discord server, and he was like, yeah, she's Hugo, which
Yeah, you didn't know what that meant.
Russian name. Yeah, I did not know what that meant. I was like, Hugo? Is that like the Russian Bertha? Like yeah. So no, it's just the Russian name for ESE.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's I think one of the things is that it's like in especially like the online community, it's a little bit more difficult to identify types that aren't there as uncommon, because I don't think it's particularly common for like, you know, ESCs to be really heavy into theory like socionics.
Yeah. It's weird to go from being like, what is it? Like because I was typed as like a ENFP. It's weird to go from being like ENFP like really common to like ESE not super duper.
Yeah, something we were talking about is that a lot of people on the WSS benchmark usually get typed like ENFP in MBTI communities. Yeah. But yeah, it's the types don't directly translate.
Mm-hmm. So what was that? So we were asking some of our friends for like questions you would want to ask like a duality like couple. So I think the first thing we should probably talk about is like the nature of duality, because I think it's really important to acknowledge that having like dating your dual does not guarantee that the relationship will be successful, because sociotics is like an information exchange system. So it just means like you guys exchange information really well. So we didn't know we were duals when we first met. And there's a lot of other things behind the scenes that makes our relationship work well, other than the fact that we're duals. So, but you know, it is just kind of like a fun fact. So I think that is just something that's really important, because I know people in this community really romanticize the idea of duality.
Yeah, it doesn't solve all your relationship problems. It's not a magical potion that you can just involve yourself in and you automatically solves everything. It's I think it's at the end of it all. Well, sociotics is about information metabolism, and that's really all that the intertype relations are. And like through our experience, like that's basically how it ended up. And you know, so we might talk about some duality descriptions, but yeah, it's like as a warning to anyone that's like, once again, the duality, like I'm sure there are plenty of great relationships outside of duality. This worked for us. This doesn't work for everyone necessarily, but yeah.
So there's already a few questions. Ooh, spicy. So can you break down once for me? Maddie, can you break down how suggestive TI works for you and how Emery provides that to you, if he does? I actually feel like Emery would better explain it, because I don't know. Okay, so I appreciate systematic information. Like I appreciate like things being organized. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, it's like you like things to be articulated in like a particular manner, and
see, this is what we're talking about.
Well, yeah, this probably would answer your question. So yeah, like usually I articulate something in a particular manner, and when Maddie first reads something, it doesn't often click. So I kind of like say something in a particular manner, and I just like basically, I think keeping it consistent, clear and consistent for her is how I go through, like, you know, providing that. Yeah, we're doing it right now.
Yeah, it's funny. He's like information transfer, like basically my information translator.
Yeah, and like no one's asked about suggestive FP, but why we could address that too, I suppose.
yeah, I guess what is it? I don't ever really notice it, but I think because I've always seen him as a really like warm and like very like friendly and soft person, but I guess that is something that I'm good at bringing out in him is like I'm very expressive and kind of it gives him like the space to do that as well, I think. Would you say?
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
so. You're like encourage a lot of like expression from me that I would have not normally done. And like I don't really pay as much attention to the reactions of people when I'm saying my stuff. So like when I'm debating with people, and you're like hyper aware of it. And yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know how the heck you do it, but I just like it just passes my mind, man. I just yeah.
Yeah. So there have been points in time, I think, where um he'll run by like, oh, does this sound good to me? And I'm like, yeah, this might be interpreted this way though. So yeah, tones and stuff. Say
Yeah, you say I
kind
come off the wrong way sometimes. That you're like I'll say
yeah.
something and you'll start laughing. I'm like, why are you laughing? Like, oh well, it kind of just came off a little bit.
So, yeah, it sounded wrong because it's like I understand what you're trying to get across, and then it's like you'll say this thing, and I'm like, you do realize you sound kind of cold.
And I'm like, I'm just like,
Well, I was just saying it. Yeah.
yeah, it's like I'm just being literal, man. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. He's so incredibly literal with it's like I'm like yeah, like basically everything is so matter of fact for him, and it's really really funny because for me language is very much like for him he's sort of like a screwdriver. It's very fine, very like very very finely tuned. Language for me, it's sort of like a hammer hitting a nail, but like the nail bends a little bit too. Like I'm just trying to get my emotions through my language. And for him, it's very fine in particular. So we'll be talking and he's like, did you mean this though? Like actually, because this is very particular. Something that he's done before has been like, so I have a lot of friends and I consider them all like I have a group of close friends that I consider like all my best friends. So I'll be like, oh yeah, my best friend. And he's like, you do realize the meaning of best is that they're above all. I remember that. And there is a point in time where he's like, it just bugs me that it's a very you're not using the word as it's supposed to be or as it actually means.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess the thing is like I don't think I like there are people that are more literal than me, but like I'm just very pedantic about the words that I use. I think that's like I try to say what I mean pretty much. It's just like yeah, thoughts in my head, it just comes directly out and I want to articulate the thoughts as clearly and according to it as possible.
So I think there's a question in chat that was like, how was it like when you guys like what was your first impressions? Because duals usually like don't like each other at first. So like first impressions. Emery, do you want to go first for first impressions?
Yeah. So yeah, so funny story. So honestly, when I first met Maddie, I thought she was a little bit annoying. She knows this. But yeah, it's just like it's let me get Sophistry Dude's question up. There you go. Essentially when I went, I don't know, it was just so we were reading Galenko's description in his book of duels, and we were noting how much of it was really accurate. Like Galenko was talking about how like duels seem like so simple that they're just like too simple to be interested in, and at least for my experience, that was very true. Like she was simple, understandable, and I guess like since I don't really meet people that are like super like loud and expressive like Madi, it was a little bit like appeasing and annoying at first. And it never really made me avoid her or anything, because she was always very pleasant to talk to. But yeah, so it slowly grew on me as I got to know her. Yeah. How about you?
Okay. So I did not share the same experience. So the first time I even knew of like Emery's existence is he messaged me on Discord, because he thought I like left a server I was moderating because I was doing all the work. He's like, I'm really happy with your work. You do such a great job. Just know that like I noticed and I've always wanted to be in a voice chat with you. Um, and I think like I met him for the first time in like a voice chat, and I just thought he was really cool. I was like, oh, this guy is like so neat. He has such a pretty voice. Dang. Uh, and what was it? He so I got Minecraft for Christmas, and I was asking people, it was like my first, I got it on the Switch because I got a Switch, and it was like my first social console. And I was asking people to play with me, and Emery comes in. It's like, I'll play with you. He pity played Minecraft with me. And that's how this whole debacle started, is he pity played Minecraft with me. Uh, and I think I remember.
Well, no one else was gonna do it. Yeah, so I felt so she really wanted someone to play Minecraft with her, and I could tell. Like she's like, oh, I really want someone to play Minecraft with me. I'm like, I knew no one was gonna do it, so I was like, I felt bad, so I played Minecraft. And that's kind of how we got to know each other.
Yeah, so I remember, I think I was asking him about like his life goals, and he was like, yeah, I really want to like become a psychologist and do all this other stuff. And I was like, that's super cool, that's neat. And then I remember mentioning like my big dream was I was going to live in like it's still my big dream. I want to live in a tiny home. I want to take an RV and convert it into a tiny home and travel. And he responded back, and he was like, yeah, I want to do the same thing, but I want to do it with someone that I really care about. And I just,
that wasn't a flirt, by the way. I was just,
yeah, no, he was being very serious. Like he didn't even consider me like romantically at all. I think he was actually, were you
yeah.
I think you were
yeah,
in like
I was seeing someone when we first met.
Yeah, he was seeing someone when we first met, and he was talking about like, oh, I just want I just want a partner I can share everything with, just someone who really gets me, and like we just, I want a partner in crime, and just I want to have someone mean like everything to me and me mean everything to them. And at that point I was like, this is so cute. I swear I don't have a crush on him. He's doing what, he was talking about traveling to like New York and how he traveled to New York. And I was like, oh, this guy is doing what like I want to do with my life. I should get to know him. And yeah, just I was constantly thinking, like what came back in my head was just like him describing how much like love meant to him, like that sort of like intimacy. And I think at that moment I kind of kept lying to myself. I was like, I don't have a crush on him. I don't have a crush on him. Oh crap, I have a crush on him. And yeah, I guess I wanted to respect his relationship. So I was just like, hey, I really want to get to know you. Here's my Snapchat. Here's my phone number. Like, text me anytime. Let's talk. Let's play Minecraft together.
Yeah, I was like, why are you giving me all this information? I'm like, I'm a pretty like private person, so I don't give out a lot of information about myself. And like, I I keep to myself pretty much. So, like when someone does that, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I was a bit suspicious of like what her intentions were, and I wasn't. Yeah.
So yeah, I I just kept inviting him to hang out with me, because there is a point
You're
in time where,
persistent. Yeah.
yeah, so like Fizzle, one of our mutual friends on Discord, Emery, and then like another person, we were all playing like Minecraft together. We'd play like the entire night. We were looking for like horses and going on adventures. And there was like one night where we stayed up till like 3 o'clock in the morning and had the romantic gut spilling session. And after that I was like, oh god, I want to kiss this man. I did. Yeah. For sure. That was
it. But okay. So yeah, anyway, that's kind of how we got to know each other. So so what other stuff you have written down?
I think there was something about the process of dualization. I can't remember. So because I remember someone asked like what the process of dualization was like. So what?
Yeah, and I remember you were looking up what that meant.
Yeah, and let me find the article. I'm so organized. Can't you tell?
Yeah.
Let me find the article we were talking about. Oh god. Yeah, so my first impression was positive. I'm just gonna say that. Emery's was negative. And persistence is key, ladies. Persistence. Chase your dreams. Nope.
So, this isn't necessarily addressing dualization, but I guess it's like a bit of like our experiences and like how different and similar we are. Like how how our dynamic kind of works. So basically, the way I like to phrase it is that we have a lot in common, but we're also like we're very similar people. We're also very different. And that's like on non like just completely general terms. That's how it feels. It's like kind of like almost like a contradiction in a way, because we both like living our lives similar ways. We both enjoy similar things to a pretty large extent. There's differences, like Maddie's really into like arts and crafts, and I don't care too much for that, and she likes decorating. I don't. I get really deep into theory. Maddie enjoys philosophy, but it's not nearly so it's just kind of, but
I enjoy applicable theory because like I'm really into like economics and like business, so I enjoy things that are more like real world applicable rather than just like theorizing. So
you like hearing about it though, obviously.
I do. Yeah. I mean, I listen to you talk.
Yeah, that's true.
So I found the dualization. So I think I'll read like the description of basically what that means. So dualization is the experience of the relationship of your dual. Apparently, when you communicate with your dual or engage in any activity together, there is extreme ease. They do things that you don't want to do, and vice versa. Eventually, you start to feel a sense of wholeness because of the complementary nature of the dual relationship. Your insecurities don't seem that big of a deal anymore because your dual sees your weaker functions as insignificant functions. Thereafter, you start acting a little more like your dual, and your dual starts acting a little more like you. And so you're teaching each other without having to force each other to engage with the preferred method of thought. This is the process of dualization. So I guess kind of talking about like
Yeah, it's
this applies
in a way, yeah. It's funny because like in a way that just sounds like a good relationship. Yeah. But I mean that we do have that, so we can talk about it anyway. Because like the way we experience it is in some degree like I think it can be put in a socionics context.
Socionics,
yeah. You want to start?
I mean, why don't you start? Because then it's easier for me to build off of what you're saying. So, because I mean, yeah, why don't you start?
Yeah. So, I think so. I'm going to talk about my polar and your demonstrative, and you're going to talk about my demonstrative and your polar. Okay, that's how we'll do this. So basically, so Maddie is really like she's constantly doing things, and I'm not a very like I can obviously I do the things that I need to do for the most part, but it's not, I'm not very activity driven. I don't really like to push people or try and like I usually try and let people do their own, and Maddie's really great at like getting us out there, taking us to do things, getting people involved, you know. And it's really nice because I am not, you know, it's just not something I'm naturally inclined to do, and that like livens up my life. I don't need someone to do that for me, but you know, it's very appreciated.
I'm thinking about so there was a point in time where we started playing WoW, and he was like, you know, it'd be really cool if we got like a guild together. So I went out and I got a bunch of random people to join.
Yeah, out of the blue.
We all made a server together, and we all were playing WoW together.
Yeah, like just randomly added me to a group of like 7 or 8 people. I'm like, Maddie, what did you do?
You're like, I was like, oh, you told me to go find a guild, so I
found a guild. I'm like, well, you found friends to play with, and I'm like, yeah. So yeah, it's like for me, I don't. There's not when people just say just do something, that's not really how it worked for me. But Maddie was like the epitome of I'm just gonna do something.
Big chaotic energy.
Yeah.
I think there was a point where we were playing Minecraft, and I like announced like he was playing Minecraft with like someone, and or they were doing he was working on a project with someone, and I just randomly announced as like, I'm gonna go make Rice Krispies like right now, and I just ran. And I remember like later that evening, you were like, I found that so charming. Like you just went to go make like Rice Krispies. Like,
yeah, it was also funny because the funny part was that you just went, like you didn't like, there was no like, usually like for me there's like a process like goodbye and like a slow change, and you just like got up and left. I was just like, what? How could you do that? I was so confused. Yeah, but yeah, and yeah, did you so what's the
Are you keeping track of the chat, or am I keeping track of the chat? Because they're
just, let's answer the question. We can worry about the chat afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll just go question by question. That we want to answer. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm NI polar, and that means I'm personally attacked by the concept of time. Mostly it's just like
that's not what that means, but that's how you feel about it.
That's how I feel about it. So I don't really have like a strong sense of how long it takes me to do things. So I think a good example is I'll schedule like, so there have been points in time where I've scheduled things at the same time, not aware that it like won't work because it's like at the same time, right? So and can't do like either of them. So Emery is really good at providing that degree of structure, because he's like, you know, it's going to take us 30 minutes to get there, and we need to leave at this time, because if we don't, you don't magically gain 20 minutes, Maddie. Time doesn't magically just
you're like, you'll sleep for 5 hours and you're like, oh, I slept plenty, I slept like 8 hours. I'm like, Maddie, look at the math.
I remember like counting time and I was like, oh yeah, like 12, 11, 13, 14. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah. But
so
yeah, I think another thing is like, you don't like about like Night the Monsters, I'm like really good at like seeing potential consequences of something and how something will end up. And yeah, you're notorious for like not thinking stuff through before you. We've had discussions before. I'm like, did you think about this? Or they just like, no, I did. I'm just like,
yeah. Like, did you think about the consequences? Like, were you aware that your actions had consequences? I was like, well, it could have ended up like this. Granted, I live in a really impulsive family. All of my family is like ESE, so we're all like really action oriented. But yeah, no, I'm not aware necessarily all the time of the consequences, or if I am, it's always like the really positive consequences. It's never like the negative consequences. Like so
yeah. And it's like, as far as like not throwing off weak, like what's the word, as far as like, you know, like, because the demolitions will be pretty strong in, and it's kind of something where it's like I enjoy being in, you know, the present, just like enjoying my time, and I think that like because Maddie does that, it doesn't bug me as much when it's not like crucial circumstances. And I think, yeah, because at the end of the day, we both just enjoy each other's company, and we just want to, like, you know, have a nice time, and
we
just
spend
like muddle around. I love talking about ideas or celebrating or something of that sort. So it's not real. That's kind of where I think that the unvalued comes in, is that it's something that I think is important when it's important. And obviously, like, you know, that we do, like, you know, we're, you know, every relationship has conflicts, and like, so it's like when that type of stuff happens, like we try to make sure that each other, like, I'm doing the things that I need to do, you know, and that Maddie is like thinking ahead when it matters. But yeah, so there is an element of like, you know, it's okay when it's not like crucial to like our livelihoods, basically.
Yeah. I'm okay. Like, I do my best. So yeah, but yeah, we have like planning sessions together occasionally where we'll talk about like stuff. That's nice. It's a good time. So but yeah. So I guess next question. Is there another question after this?
There is. I believe so. I guess we could talk about our roles, because that's also mentioned in Duality description.
Yes, the one that makes me a very productive.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Do my role.
Yeah, I mean, like TE isn't the only thing that has to do with productivity, but you know.
Okay, true. I guess what is it? I guess you can kind of see it in the difference between like myself at like work and myself at like home. At work, I'm very much enterprising, very productive, very much focused on, you know, I'm there to work and I'm there to do my best and I'm there to get the job done. And, you know, I am looking at the charts, looking at the graphs, making sure that people have their stuff done. Yeah, and I feel like I approached that kind of the same way in school. Like I was very much, my schoolwork is very much the same. is I do my schoolwork kind of approach it the same way. So, and I feel like that's kind of the best explanation of my role function in that degree. And then when I come home, I'm like the carefree artist and just kind of can sit and relax and just do the things that like I really want to do. I don't have to worry about being necessarily focused. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like, you know, when you're in your natural state, that I'm more aware of like of my ignoring, because I like the aspect of ignoring is that you do pay attention to it, but it's not something that you know, it's like it's heavily subdued, but it is something like, you know, like I want to make sure, you know, like we minimize costs. Like I think about that quite often. It's like I'm a min-maxer in life. Yeah.
We were talking about plane tickets last night, and he's like, you know, if you go like this day, it costs like less. And I'm like, Emery, it's a 12-hour layover. He's like, but it's cheaper.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think
I'm willing to pay more to not spend the night in the airport.
Yeah. And yeah, as far as like FI role versus FI ignoring, I am you have this thing where you basically like you accept like almost everyone you meet at first glance. It's very, you know, very welcoming, very very nice, and I am not the same way. I usually look at people like I'm more of like I'm naturally suspicious of people more so, and that's kind of how it's like. There's like sometimes there can be like a conflict in that regard. Is that like I'm like, Maddie, I think that we should be wary of this person, and Maddie's like, oh, we can accept everyone.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
I met this random person on the bus. We should invite them over for tea. Oh God, actually that's a
that's something you would actually do. That's the funny part.
That's a true story. I had like a lady that I met on the bus who used to do my nails. I randomly met her on the bus and she was like, you know, I can do your nails for you. And I'm like, sure. We went out to Starbucks and we got some tea and we talked about doing my nails and yeah. So yeah, I think there's kind of like a disadvantage too, because then people feel like they can walk up to you and just tell you their life story, which is kind of nice sometimes, but like I'll just randomly hear about like what is it? I'll be in like at the line for the grocery store and some lady will come up to me and be like, I just broke up with my boyfriend and I'm like going through all this relationship drama and my parents just divorced and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Can you please check out my asparagus? So, yeah, I think it has its disadvantages, but I definitely very welcoming. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think I push you to be, I think, more.
Yeah, you do for sure. Yeah.
Because I'll talk to her.
Yeah. And that also has to probably do with some extent of that has to do with FE suggestive too. But yeah, for sure. So yeah, what's the next question you have on your list?
Like, how does it work? That was something that someone asked, is like, how does your relationship like work? Which
we kind of explained.
Yeah, that's like the one thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the questions are like, how did you meet? How does it work? How was the dualization process? What were first impressions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. We got another question. Okay. All right. So Spacey asked, how's the NESI dynamic between you guys? So I think basically I think a great way to think about it is that, so ESE has bold any. It might be weaker than LII any, but it's bold, and LII has cautious any, but it's strong. So the thing is that like we're both. How do I put this? Madi likes to bring up like the most random ideas about things, and I am often the one that tailors them down. And I'm like, Madi, that doesn't make any sense. How does that relate to other people? How does that relate to other things? Yeah. It's because basically my Enneagram is serving TI as LII. So that's basically what happens pretty often is that Madi will spurt these random new possibilities for us to do things or for us to investigate things. And I'm the one that like kind of like runs through them and checks if it's legit. And sometimes I make these like possibilities of doing things as well. And like Madi always enjoys them. But yeah, it's kind of like, so yeah, like when I make them, Madi kind of like, it's mobilizing. And actually it was just a discussion about the mobilizing function, ironically. But they're basically, it's something that really does like activate or mobilize her. Like you really enjoy it, don't you? It's like when I come up with those new things. And then for me, it's more about like, I'm trying to tailor it to TI. And then as far as like SI,
I was trying to think about that too.
Yeah. You're like I know like, so you're really like energetic and action oriented, but you're not very pushy. Or well, you can be, but normally you're not that pushy.
Yeah.
And I'm really stubborn. If someone pushes me, like I'm more inclined to say no because I was pushed than if they just asked. So Madi is really great at not pushing me to do anything. She always is like, creates like a pleasant environment. I really appreciate that because, it's something, I don't know if it's like, it's essentially like a need. Like I need like some type of like stability to like how I go about things. And Madi's able to create that for me. Or yeah, and yeah. You have anything else to add, Madi?
I was just thinking about I also see like very much like environmental things that are important. I think that like you don't necessarily see. Can I tell like the desk story?
Oh yeah, that has to do with probably the sensing types, being a sensing type in general. But yeah, let's go for it. Why not?
Okay, so so there are these plastic tables, right, that fold out. You see them at parties. Usually, they're pretty cheap. They're like, and they have the metal legs underneath, and they just fold out. Well, Emery has been using one of those as his like computer desk
for years.
For years, since like the beginning of time. And he messaged me, he's like, I got a new desk and it's the best thing ever. Everything feels so much better playing on this desk. I'm like, Emery, it's just a normal wooden desk. And he's like, yeah, but it's like a desk. And I'm like, what did you have beforehand? He's like, I had this plastic table. I'm like, you do realize there's like an element of like comfort. Like you can, like things looking good and you feeling good about them. That's like a thing that's connected. And he's like, what? That's a thing? What the heck?
Yeah. I think something else is like, I can be really particular about my environment. And you're pretty flexible.
So
yeah, you're pretty flexible about it. You can enjoy a lot of varieties of things.
Yeah, like I can sleep in anything. Like sleep with like the lights on, sleep like in a car, sleep anywhere. Emery has to have like it be cool, and he'll literally take like a pillow sheet. If there's a little bit of light like in the room, he'll take like a pillow sheet and he'll just put it over his eyes and fall back to sleep.
Yeah.
He's very particular about his
Yeah. Also just my health in general. Like nothing bugs me more than not getting enough sleep. Yeah, like I need to have enough sleep to
and I'm like, get 3 hours of sleep. We ride at dawn. Like, I'm go to sleep at like
yeah. No, not for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, stubborn SI for sure. Okay, so Leah asks, how do you think Madi's FE base influences your FE suggestive? For me, so I think that it just, I know it's kind of just like it adds a lot more like emotional content to my life. Like I talked about this on the LII party, that LIIs have quite a bit of emotions, even if we don't necessarily show it. But you know, Madi is like, I was telling Madi and I have this story. I remember I think I told you at one point, like, he's like, usually I try to like reciprocate or replicate people's emotion reactions to me. And I told Madi, I was like, I can't do that with you. There's no competition. I'd lose every time.
Very excitable. Also, I found it really interesting because most people usually perceive you as like usually kind of like cold and almost like very like stern. But I always found him to be like a really soft, squishy person, like just like, you know, just kind of like yeah, sort of like a Sour Patch Kid, sour on the outside, sweet on the inside.
Yeah, you always try to like see like you always try to see like the bright sides of people. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, so it brings out a lot of like, you know, my emotions, and we often like do this thing where we like just exchange how we feel about things, and it's like very I don't know, it's very like, I don't know if enlightening is the right word, but it's like very satisfying, mm-hmm. I would say. And you know, I really, yeah, I don't know, it's just a really pleasant experience. And you know, it's like so sometimes we go into groups, whether it be on Discord or in real life, and sometimes there'll be like disturbances, or like I'm not really sure how like to handle you know, like one, my presentation, but two, also like when the emotional environment goes awry, and Madi is pretty good at like handling that. And yeah, if you want to elaborate, I think you might be able to phrase it better than me.
So I have big soccer mom energy. I'm really good at basically just kind of regulating the emotional environment of certain things. It's why I was such a great moderator. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but you know.
To toot your own horn.
Just to toot my own horn. Anyway, I am good at understanding how to kind of make things, kind of mold things to fit back into the environment if something goes awry. It's almost like I've almost considered it like putting frosting on a cake, and if you like mess up the frosting a little bit, I can kind of layer the frosting back on. I'm also really good at kind of getting out of difficult situations,
like smoothing things over.
Yeah, I've also been really good, like, what is it? Emery's messaged me before, like, hey, I kind of, like, need to get out, like, can you help me? And I'm like, here's how we get out in a very, you know, easy fashion. It's like, hey, Emery and I are gonna go do this thing, guys. It was really nice to talk to you. You know, really nice to meet you. Let's skedaddle. thank you guys, you know, and I'm good at kind of navigating that element of socialization. And I think there was a question about like how we handle conflict, which I think would be
actually
yeah.
I didn't see that, but wait, let me see. Who said that?
I don't remember. I really don't, because I've only been like
yes,
yeah.
Email to Anthrax asked what kind of conflicts do you guys
It's so bad.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, but anyway.
Oh yeah.
What kind of conflicts do you guys encounter?
Do you? I think you're really good at explaining relationship conflict.
Yeah,
because it's important to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we kind of. I think that one of the things that comes, I think in particular, is that it's been really important to me that that people are, I know, consistency among your points is really important, like just in general. So like I think when a lot of the conflicts from my side, at least, it's like I like, well, I don't like call you out, but I like point out that like you're being inconsistent. It doesn't make your argument.
No, you call me out. I mean,
I don't know.
It's a call out.
Okay.
Oh
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, okay, fine. So I call you out for like being like really inconsistent about like how you're phrasing your stuff, and I kind of usually help you like string it along and clarify that. Yeah, and it's like you're just yeah, sometimes it can like be a bit tedious because you have like we have to really delve deep because you're not necessarily thinking about like the deep implications of like maybe some aspects of the implications of your emotions and other stuff. So that's like something that I usually help you dive really deep into. Yeah, and then like you've like when a conflict on your end, or like when you like initiate conflict, what is that for you?
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of my conflict comes from like, because like I always understand kind of one of the things I think we always sort of approach when it comes to conflict is like it always feels like neither of us want to like hurt the other person. So there's always that kind of mutual understanding of like we both really like love each other, and this is just something that we have to like get over. So there have been points in time where Emery has said something, and I'm like, this made me feel like this way, and I know you didn't necessarily mean the implications, but can you please re-explain, or can you please re-go over this, because this made me feel this way. So that's kind of something that I've noticed has been conflict sort of is very, I feel like we handle conflict pretty well because we both go through, it's almost kind of like a step-by-step process. We initiate, we talk about it, we reiterate, and then we make a
solution if needed. It's not really a makeup process because the thing is with conflict that we never distance ourselves. That happens very very rarely. It's with like the way we approach conflicts, like we're in this together, and we just like talk about it, reiterate points, and if there's a solution, like let's say like it's because one of us or both of us have a particular issue that we need to sort through, well, that's a solution. Or it's a miscommunication. Most usually it's a miscommunication, and yeah.
So yeah, it's been fairly nice because I think we kind of have both like there's something kind of unique where it's like Emery, something that I didn't even know that I really needed was like the sense of like permanency. Like Emery kind of is really good at creating this like sense of permanency where it's like, I want to work through this with you. Like I'm not going to, I'm not like looking to leave, like we're building this together. It's sort of our relationship feels a lot more like growing a garden and less like I don't know, just less like
a turf war.
Turf war, yeah. Yeah, because it's I think it's nice, and it's just very
Yeah.
I think it's just very relaxing. Yeah, we enjoy spending like a lot of time with each other, so it's very much like a partner in crime relationship. So just like what was told to just what made me had a crush on you. Same idea. Made me have a crush on you like 4 or 5 months ago. So actually like 6 or 7 by now, because if you count like the time when I had a crush and then like before you started.
Yeah. So what is so you and me have both read like duality descriptions since we started the relationship, because we were just like kind of curious.
Yeah.
So we don't want to talk about like some of the stuff that we think is realistic or unrealistic that we've seen.
He was very particular when it came to like duality, because like I wasn't really into sociotics. I didn't even know we were duals like at all until like I think like few weeks into our relationship, because I knew nothing about sociotics.
I literally just didn't mention it because I just didn't want there to be like, I think that relationships and obviously not everyone has to follow this, but my principle on it is that you shouldn't go into a relationship just because they're your dual. And so I wasn't going to mention it or think about it till we already have established a relationship, and I meant, and then we eventually started talking about it because it was just, but I didn't want to make have that be a big factor. And it's like, oh wow, this relationship worked out because we're duals or anything. I don't want to imply that, so I just it's just something I just didn't bother thinking about or mentioning. And I think you asked me about the best relationship for me in socionics, and I told you that like you just asked me that out of the blue. We weren't even dating at the time, and I said ESE, and I think you just got typed ESE like a week ago. Before that point,
I was like, that's so weird. Is this your way of flirting with me, or?
I'm like, no. Yeah.
Oh my god. But I remember it because you were like, yeah, I can't talk to you about duality. Go ask Glazzy. Go ask Glazzy about it, because I don't wanna say something and it be like
it's like look at the way I see that. It's like, it's, you don't need, like, it's good not to involve systems to justify your relationship. The relationship should stand for itself. So yeah, but we weren't really addressing what I was saying, but I think this was interesting anyway. We're talking about specific. You don't have to name description, but things we read in the descriptions.
Oh gosh, there was like a one. You sent me like, so Emery, when we were talking about this, sent me like 3 descriptions, like a short one, a medium length one, and then like this really long one. And this really long one, I can't remember, it's on Wikisocion, talked about how the ESE and the LII, and it described it with this beautiful story that I wish wasn't in Russian, because I want to watch the play.
Are you talking about strategy of strat? I'm just gonna say strat.
It was called
very long. Socinus.
Yeah, it's such a long story, but it's so cute. It's about this doctor, and he works in a sanatorium, and like there's like an older lady who gets committed as a patient there, and they end up like falling in love, and it illustrates like LII and ESE duality. So it's sort of it's nice.
It's like old-fashioned comedy. I think it's what it's called.
Old-fashioned comedy, and it's described like this woman like gets out, like jumps out of the windows to go see like the stars, and like sneaks out into the and sneaks back in through the window, and the doctor's like, this lady's crazy, like why is she doing this? And then suddenly, slowly, as he starts to like understand her more, everything kind of seems justified. And I think that story was really significant because I think it felt like it described kind of our dynamic pretty well, because like I've always been, I guess, like something that is really nice is like my emotional responses make sense to Emery. Like my the way that like I kind of justify my actions or like do things makes sense to him, and kind of it's the reverse too. But
yeah, it might not be logical,
yeah,
but I understand it.
yeah. It's like, oh yeah, you know, like we can go, if we go up this way, it's like, no, this is technically the most efficient, but I understand why you would think that. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely, I recommend, if you haven't given it a read. Who wrote that description? I can't even remember.
I'm just gonna copy their name in the chat.
Okay.
Stradievskaya is my best guess at how it's pronounced, but yeah,
it's such a good description, and the description of the story is so cute.
So but before we get into this, Pixie asked if you know your IV. You forgot to put it in.
What is my IV?
Instinctual variance. Instinctual variant.
Oh, I'm a social 7. Yeah.
SOSX is yeah.
Single tier. I just got done reading Beatrice Chestnut's. Actually, I didn't get done with it. I'm still trying to get through it. But yeah, I think I just got to like the 6, and reading the social 7 description, just like single tier. Yeah. So I just am starting to learn more and more about Enneagram. Also, Emery pushed me into learning more about Enneagram.
Yeah.
Didn't push me, but encouraged
I think Enneagram's a great system for growth. Yeah.
It was super funny because he what was it? He kept sending me the link to like social 7, even when we weren't dating.
Well, I told you because you were typed as a 9 at the time, and I'm like, I was pretty suspicious of it. I sent you this like, tell me what you think. And then I also sent you the social 9 and social 7. I was like, tell me which one fits you better. And you're like, oh my god, social 7's like hits me spot on.
It's like this like sense of guilt, like, oh yeah, you know, I feel like such a bad person. I need to do good, but doing good also like feeds the ego, and yeah, it's just sort of like this
escapism through doing good.
Yeah. Which I related to strongly. And it's actually really funny because we're like 7 not like doesn't, what is it? 7 integrates to 5 and 5 disintegrates to 7. So we kind of have each other growing there. Yeah. I feel like Emery helps you grow.
That's more of a thing for Enneagram channel discussion, but we also have that as well. Is that we kind of keep each other in check with that.
Interesting dynamic there as well. So we kind of have this systematic like growth thingy.
Yeah, Leah, we're both SOSX.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I just wanted to mention that it makes us both like really nervous about each other. Like we're both like, I think when we were first going to meet up, we're like, what if you don't like me? But what if you don't like me? We weren't thinking about each other. We were just thinking about if the other person didn't like each other. It was really
that's funny. We talk about it a few times. Like we have this same anxiety about each other,
like not liking the other. Yeah. So, next question.
Yeah. Is that it for your list?
that was it for my list. Yeah, I didn't have, I mean, like a lot of the questions that people posed are just like, how does it work? What is it like? You know, how does your relationship do its thing? Yeah. Not too many like deep theory questions. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess we just give a bit for questions before we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we'll take a few more questions. All right. So what's your so Maddie, what's your if you're gonna like describe this relationship in like a analogy, what would you say? Well, separate from socionics.
Oh gosh. In this kind of like analogy. I don't, you know, I'd say being in a relationship with Emery, kind of this relationship specifically, for me is like nothing I've kind of ever experienced before. Just it's a very deep, very like very intimate love, and you know, something that I hope, you know, anyone who's watching this or anyone at any point in time, you know, gets the chance to experience, because it's just you know, I've never been so like satisfied or fulfilled by a relationship before. I've never thought like this was even, I didn't even think that this was like a possible thing for someone to experience. But yeah.
We're not certain, like, you know, we're not certain if that's like from duality or what, and it may not be. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I just I don't know. It's even if it's not, even if I turn out to be like a different type like tomorrow, or he does, like it doesn't really even, I think, matter all in all. Like this is just yeah, I love him.
Yeah, I think we can leave it off there.
Yeah.
That's a good note to end it on. All right. Well, yeah, I appreciate everyone for coming. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, stay tuned for more duality talks. Maybe we'll come back. Maybe there'll be others. But yeah, hopefully. Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.